Young historians, it is NHD topic time. You've heard about the NHD project. You might have been thinking about a couple topics here and there, but now it's time to get down to business. The rubber's got to hit the road here, all right? So this is a brief overview of some information, some suggestions on hitting or selecting your topic for your big NHD project. Of course, we know that the topic has to match the theme, so just for review, our theme is rights and responsibilities. Remember, rights, freedoms, or privileges that individuals possess as human beings or as citizens of a society. They could be some of the rights that we've been talking about in class with the Declaration of Independence, but you've got civil rights, you've got political rights, social rights, economic rights, human rights. Of course, those are broad categories. We can probably narrow down in any of those. There is some information about those in the reading that you have in your NHD notebook. Then we have responsibilities, expectations of individuals as members of society. I would even argue that we could expand that to the expectations of governments, their responsibilities, maybe businesses, groups, organizations. I think we could make a case for that. And of course, they can be legal, civic, social, and ethical. Again, more information about that in your NHD theme reading that's in your notebook. Now, when it comes to your topic, this is the key checklist here. All right, this is what you really, really want to consider. First off, the topic's got to meet the theme. So if the topic is not about rights and responsibilities, and you can't really, make it a true connection to the theme, we want to get a different topic. So make sure that you can really connect it to that theme of rights and responsibilities. I'm hoping it's going to be about U.S. history for a couple reasons I've already mentioned. One, this is a U.S. history class. It can fit into our class. Number two, it's really my expertise. But the big reason why, it's easier to find sources. That's the major reason. Really, why would I suggest everybody do U.S. history? Because it is much easier to locate and find primary and secondary sources. It has to be something that you can analyze and has impact. You're not just talking about something that happened. You're talking about something happened and why it matters. Why was it important? That's a key. You want it to be the right size. You don't want it to be too broad, and that's why I'm saying don't do the dropping of the atomic bomb. All right? That's a biggie. You can't do like the Civil War. You can't do like women and voting, the 19th Amendment. It's got to be a little more narrow than that, but it can't be too narrow. It can't be just like one little iota of history. You need to be able to find primary sources. If you can't find primary sources, it's not going to be a successful NHD project because that's the key, and that's what historians use. I'm pretty particular on this. Primary sources are essential. You got to have them, and I love helping you find them. Unique topics are great, all right? Unique meaning that it's not, Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. You can take that speech, and you can look at aspects of it and see maybe there's something different about rights and responsibilities when it comes to the speech. Same thing with, say, like the 19th Amendment. That's not unique, but there could be a unique way to look at it, and sometimes that uniqueness can be local or state history. I'd love for it to be meaningful, something that actually inspires you. It doesn't have to inspire you, but that's always a bonus too, where maybe it changes your outlook on things. Maybe it links to some of your purpose-driven learning. Maybe it's something that makes you, feel a little more strongly about social justice or something. That would be awesome. And you got to love it. I got 5 exclamation points there. I'd put 8 or 9, but then it would go off the slide. You got to love that topic. I've told you that, and if you're working with a partner, they got to love it too. So what you got to do is narrow a topic. Think of something you like. Milwaukee history. I'm a huge Milwaukee history fan. I love it. But I can't do Milwaukee history. But maybe I could start to look at civil rights in Milwaukee history. So I get a book about Milwaukee history, and I look in the index for civil rights. And I find out that there was a big push for fair housing in the 1960s, 1967, 1968, where African Americans were not allowed to rent housing in certain areas. There was no laws made that there was fair housing. And then I find out that there was an actual civil rights march on Milwaukee for fair housing, where hundreds, thousands of people, including students your age, felt the responsibility to go out and march. It was their responsibility to not only protest and open up people's eyes, but to push for their right to live where they wanted to live. That seems to me to be a good topic. Unique. I'm interested in it. It definitely had an impact. And it's going to be fun to study. Another example. I'm a huge fan of the First Amendment. First Amendment is awesome. I love freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of petition, freedom of assembly. It's good stuff, right? And the freedom of speech is the one that I love the most. And I love looking at Supreme Court cases about what can I say and what can't I say. But how about what can you say in a school? Do you have the freedom of speech in a school, especially in a public school? And then I find there's a case about a lady named Mary Beth Tinker. She was actually a girl, your age pretty much. I think she was 14 when this happened. She wore an armband to school in Iowa in the 1960s to express her disappointment, displeasure with the war in Vietnam. She felt it was her responsibility to let her views known and let others think about that war in Vietnam. And she was suspended, kicked out of school, basically. She also took the responsibility of not giving up. She took the school board to court, her family did, and it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in her favor. And its impact was it set the stage for free speech in schools all across the United States. That's pretty cool. Another one, I'm a big fan of World War I. I like World War I. I can't do World War I as my NHD topic, but I could look at the soldiers of the AEF. Those are the guys and women who served in the American Expeditionary Force. Now, there's an interesting group called the Harlem Hellfighters. These are African Americans who felt it was their responsibility to fight not only for their country, but to fight for equality, to fight for their rights, both in and out of the United States military. And Henry Johnson was one of them, this guy right here on the right. Henry Johnson was basically a hero in the United States military, even though he served in segregated troops and wasn't even allowed to fight with the United States military. He fought, they supported the French military. He won a Croix de Guerre, which is the French military honor. He did not get a Medal of Honor for his valor from the United States until the 2000s. President Obama gave it to him. So this is a guy who felt it was his responsibility and fought for his rights and was honored, but not by the United States for the longest time. Finally, the United States honored him. Sounds like a cool project. Where can you find some inspiration? It could be places you have traveled. Could be museums you've seen. Could be music you have listened to, songs. Could be some current events. You can link it to current events. Why does it matter? Could be, a movie you've watched or a book you've read or anything like that. Talk to your parents. Talk to me. Talk to your teachers. Talk to Miss Renteria. Talk to anybody to try to start with that big focus or that big topic and then narrow down your focus. You got to think hard about it. That's why I give you a month to think about it. But right now, you got to start thinking. You really do. Now, the other thing is, do you want to work alone or do you want to work with a group? And this links to your topic because, remember, partners have to love the topic the same amount. So you can work with anybody in the grade. This is your choice. Partnerships work. Sometimes they don't. Trios can work, but sometimes they turn into 2-on-1. And then more than 3, it's really, really tough. All right? So think about those advantages and disadvantages. This is on your topic worksheet that you have in your NHD binder. Take a look at those. And then think about sailing across the Lake Michigan. You can sail alone. It's going to be hard, but you're the captain, and it's going to be, a great experience for you. But it's only you, and you're doing all the work, and you can't bounce ideas off of anybody. Similarly, if there's 2 or 3 people on that boat, you can spread the work. You've got more, 2 heads are better than 1. It's going to be a little more fun. You can, balance out the work. But what happens if one person doesn't want to sail the same rate that you do? What happens if some person has a different destination in mind? What happens if some person just doesn't want to sail, period, and they're just along for the ride? You got to keep that in mind. Now, you also have to consider this. Are you, and if you have a partner, are you both, so individually and are you alone, in it to survive and get done? That's fine. It's fine. Chucky T says it's fine. It's okay. Do you want to have a great project for the USM Showcase in February? Do you want to be successful at regionals? Do you maybe want to compete at the state level? Or are you in it to win it and you're trying to get to Washington, D.C.? If you, wherever you are on that, and that may change as you go along. I know that may change, but you got to realize that if you're doing it alone and you are in it to win it, it's going to be on you, but you can do it. I know you can do it. If you're working with a partner and you're both in it to win it, you both got to stay in it to win it. Because if one of you wants to compete at the state level and one of you just wants to survive, one of you is doing more of the work. What are your next steps? After careful consideration, using the topic worksheet that you have, I want you to make a copy and fill out the topic selection sheet on Google Classroom. If you're working as an individual, copy and do the individual one. If you're working as a group, copy and do the group one. I only want one topic selection sheet for any group. I don't need more than one. All right? Everything, if you're in a group, everything you submit will be as a group. Be very complete and very detailed on it. The more info you give, the better the proposal. You'll notice that on there it says where to type. I want you to type in certain places, and so fill that up. You're going to say how do you link it to the theme of rights and responsibilities? Why did you choose the topic? What are some questions you have? Think about inquiry. What are some resources you've already got? What are some people and places? Don't say, oh, I'm going to contact my mom or I'm going to contact the Milwaukee Public Library. Go into more detail. Are there certain museums or historical libraries you're going to contact? You got to go out there and do some searching. This isn't something you just want to throw together. And I will give you feedback on this. Once you submit it on Google Classroom, it doesn't mean automatically that you should start researching it, because I'm going to give you some feedback and I might help you narrow down your topic or say, I don't know if this one's going to work. But you got to have this by September 27th, okay? Because we've got to get moving. We got to start getting our resources as well. So September 27th is really the date I want those topics. So keep positive about this. It's going to be a great project, especially once you start doing the research component. That's the fun part, getting the resources and going out and reaching out to people. That's the cool part. So yay NHD. You use your time wisely and make sure that we're working hard on this, and see TAF with any questions.